Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with gold trim, weighing in at 278 pounds. He comes to us from Livonia, Michigan, and brings a professional record of 12-9 with one draw. 8 of his 12 victories are by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Craig Tiger Payne. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, weighing in at 222 pounds, wearing the black with white trim. His professional record, a perfect one, 20-0. 17 KOs from Brooklyn, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Briggs.
Boxers, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands. Let's touch gloves. Have a good, clean fight.
That is Craig Payne, the 32-year-old veteran who comes in here off a TKO loss in 10 to Ray Anus in Boston. And Shannon Briggs, the undefeated youngster from New York who beat Mike Faulkner in 2 rounds in his last outing. Craig Payne is a big one. He weighs in, tipping the scales very close to 300 pounds.
And he thought that was rather svelte this morning, as he's got 36% knockout ratio. Briggs, of course, 85. And he would like the number to go down a little bit and learn from his fights. With big guys like this, the thunder, if it's going to happen, usually comes early.
Shannon Briggs, a young man who missed out going to the Olympics in 1992, couldn't go to the trials because of hand problems. It's something that's dogged him during his pro days. He's had injuries to both hands, but says and told us today that for the last 6 months his hands have felt great, and that's a big plus.
He made an interesting point, too, about everybody knows that the fighters can recover from these hand problems. Big punchers always have, but when you're the one going through it, there's always the doubt, and he had those doubts about whether he could really cut loose.
And lest you think that because Craig Tiger Payne is wide of girth, that he can't hang in there. Beat Samson Fahua, who you've seen here on ESPN, a good young prospect, in 6 rounds. Went 10 rounds with Mike the Bounty Hunter, and along the way has fought the likes of Melton Bowen, beat him in 5, beat Rick Sikorsky. Not that that would mean he'd be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, but it means that he can't hang in there with some heavyweights.
A heartbeat away. But, you know, he's really starting like he wants this to be a long fight here, hoping for an opening by Briggs. And with guys like this, it's a question of their heart. How much do they want to stay in there? Because usually, their careers generally are not going anywhere unless they can get the big win. How much do they want?
Craig Payne assured us today that he was here to try and win this bout. And Shannon Briggs, a young man who is not only a good boxer, articulate and enjoyable to talk to, and he has a good bead on what it is to fight these veterans and try and look good while you're doing it.
Unless the other fighter brings a suitable style to the fight, you might look bad. But he knows he's at that stage of his career now where he needs rounds and he needs fighters who are going to try some tricks.
Nice jab and straight right hand by Briggs. He is just doing his job methodically here in round 1, and Craig Payne has been content to let him do it and see what the youngster has to show him. Payne said he has never seen Briggs fight, so this is all a new experience for Craig Payne right now. He's testing Briggs to see what he has.
So far, Payne has used the whole ring, albeit in a backpedaling way.
Good body shot by Shannon Briggs, and he is a good body puncher. So round 1 goes the way Shannon Briggs would like it. See what round 2 has to offer. Stay with us.
Shannon Briggs is pretty methodical here. Gets the range for his jab and the right hand behind it. As the rounds go on, you see that distance shorten for his right.
We head into round 2. It's scheduled for 8. The man on the right of your screen now, Craig Payne, and facing him is Shannon Briggs. Payne, a 32-year-old veteran. Briggs, 23 years old. Briggs comes in 20-0, and for Craig Payne, he is 12-9-1.
Well, a tremendous advantage, both landing and throwing by Shannon Briggs. Only one of those, one power shot attempted by Payne, and that will not get it done.
Briggs certainly happy with that percentage landed. He is Pecking away against Craig Payne.
And what's surprising about those numbers, too, in that round is the big guy really gets his best chance early before the more skilled fighter takes over and finds his rhythm. Now, as Shannon Briggs gets loose, it bodes better for him.
You see the Tiger written on the trunks of Craig Payne. When he says that he is into tigers, he's not kidding. Not only is that his nickname, and he has a concrete company called Tiger Paw Concrete Company, he owns a tiger. He literally owns a full-grown tiger. It's 1.5 years old. Keeps it in Houston in a cage, and that's quite a mascot.
And feeds the tiger 12 chickens a day. It just has it all down. How much food the tiger needs. He's got the entire regimen.
Tiger, oh, good hook by Shannon Briggs. You also see the tattoo of the tiger on the back of his back. Good left hook downstairs by Briggs. Shannon Briggs is really mixing his attack well. There's a nice jab finally by Payne. Payne told us today the tiger eats 10 to 12 chickens in a sitting.
That's just too much.
Wow. Minute left to go here in round 2.
But he is a man. He did say he keeps the tiger away from people. Let's emphasize that.
This is an excellent attribute for Craig. Right now, it's Shannon Briggs who is being more ferocious in the ring, landing almost at will.
And the left hook to the body he landed about 30 seconds ago may really be a discouraging factor here in this fight for Payne.
About a half a minute left to go in round 2, and so far, Shannon Briggs has just had his way with Craig Payne.
Well, he certainly had the scouting report right about expecting Payne to try and survive.
So, 1/4 of this fight is over, just about. Come back for round 3.
Are you a sports fan?
That's Craig Payne, who has had 2 very difficult rounds against Shannon Briggs. The youngster from New York comes out here for round 3. It is scheduled for 8. They are heavyweights. I'm Al Bernstein here with Dave Von Temple. We're at Ballys Park Place on the boardwalk. And Shannon Briggs comes out firing with jabs and straight right hands. He has kept his composure well and just going about his business right now.
Continuing to throw the jab and not being thrown off really by the delaying tactics here by Briggs. The Payne's trying to survive. There you look at that unbelievable stat as far as Payne's lack of accuracy. Not one power shot landed in 2 rounds, and that's his money in this fight.
Payne has been able to get the jab in from time to time, but just is loath to throw it. I mean, only 30 punches in 2 rounds is not good.
As you might expect, Briggs jumping out to a substantial lead, and Payne certainly reluctant. He's got to fire the right hand, at least cut it loose. He might hit something.
Sounded.
Can't be any worse than attached to his ear.
No, I think you've made a very valid point there. Double left hook by Briggs. It's a great weapon for him, and he's using it here tonight. We mentioned that he beat Mike Faulkner in his last fight, knocked him out in 2. We had him against Mike Faulkner back in February of this past year. A tough fight for him. Faulkner was very awkward, and Shannon didn't get in his rhythm as much as he would have liked, even though he won it.
So he's had the 2 fights with Faulkner, and the 6th-round knockout he had did a lot for him as far as finding flaws. And to come back and get a 2-round knockout shows improvement, something you certainly like to see from a fighter on the way up.
Well, Payne continues to be less than active offensively, and Briggs happy to take advantage of it.
And he has to take what is offered and not shift into a gear in which maybe Payne gets lucky. And those left hooks to the body are very telling, and they're the kind of shots that could make Payne quit if he does.
It's Craig Payne landing the jab. It is interesting. He can get the jab in when he throws it.
And it can be a very heavy-handed jab when he throws it.
There is Briggs working pretty well. A lot of those blocked by Payne. Briggs told us today it's very important for him to keep his punches flowing. He said, you know, I'm not a one-punch knockout artist. I'm not Mike Tyson. I'm Shannon Briggs. Keeping the punches going is important.
Stay that boxer puncher, and he told you about maintaining his mode. You know, as soon as the fighter stops throwing his hands, a smart veteran can counter. He knows that that jab has to be out there at all times.
Round 3 goes into the history books, and it's a happy one for Shannon Briggs, and his trainer Teddy Atlas should be happy, we think.
Hard and aches of life. Just like me. I survived through all the heartaches of life.
Well, it's been a heartache so far tonight for Craig Payne. He has had 3 tough rounds against Shannon Briggs, but like a tiger, sneakily, he attacks. And he's doing it now.
He was waiting for that soundbite.
I think we may have motivated Craig Payne by running that. How did he know?
And how did he know he established a record for futility and not landing a power shot for the first 3 rounds of a fight? That's now his record all to himself.
God. Well, that's why he went after it here in this round.
Well, if a guy wants to come on in the middle rounds and take the early rounds off, you couldn't do a better job of taking 3 rounds off than that.
Yes.
And a round off and don't worry about anything.
Yeah, he didn't, apparently. And of course, with this fight, an 8-round fight, for Craig Payne, he's going to have to start making something happen. He got the fight on 2 weeks' notice, which he normally doesn't get in a fight. Usually takes him on much shorter notice. Nice body work. Shannon Briggs has always been a good body puncher, and as he's developed as a pro, that's been something he's gotten even better at.
Shannon Briggs is keying on the face of Payne, realizing that he can go downstairs and then fire upstairs. He's trying to throw more with his right hand over the top now. Trying not to be deceived, though, by Payne. We talked about that this morning, too.
See the 2 fighters? Shannon Briggs feinting a little bit as he comes in to throw some of his hands. Briggs only had 24 amateur fights, and so he has learned a lot as a pro. Nice right hand by Briggs. And even with the 24 amateur fights, Dave, he was a step away from making our Olympic team.
And it shows in the pros how much he's carried over from that promise shown in the amateurs now. He's learned a lot, and he's really engaging in what is a difficult type of a fight for someone in his class. It looks easy right now. He's got a big lead, but these are the fights a fighter can hurt his hand. All kinds of things can happen when you've got such a big lead so early.
Under a minute left to go here in round number 4. And now about 40 seconds left. So as these seconds wind down, Shannon Briggs does what he's been doing, which is put punches together, land often to both the body and the head. Big right hand to the head of Craig Payne. So round 4 is winding down with just about 10 seconds left in the round. As we go to break, Craig Payne will go to his corner and ponder what he can do to change his fortunes tonight. And he's doing just that. We head into round 5. That is Craig Payne on the left of your screen, Shannon Briggs on the right. Payne is the 32-year-old veteran. And Shannon Briggs, a 23-year-old undefeated young heavyweight who comes in here with a 20-0 record, 17 KOs. Payne, 12-9-1 with 8 KOs. And we're waiting for Craig Payne. He showed a moment of spark in the 4th round, but that's about all we've seen, Dave.
None of the heavy-handedness, and now Shannon Briggs just getting more and more confidence. There he goes, landing a left hook to the body despite the risk of a right-hand counter. Payne had got him in, but Payne could not land the counter right hand. And to have more than a 100-punch landed lead after only 4 rounds of a fight in this weight class is astonishing.
That is pretty amazing, and it speaks a lot toward what Craig Payne isn't doing also, in addition to what Shannon Briggs is doing. You know,
fighters who weigh this much don't have to be this inactive. There was a guy years ago, Harold Rice, who used to show up on ESPN weighing 280, but for at least 2 to 3 rounds in a fight, he was pretty dangerous, and if he landed a punch, he could score a knockout.
How about Robert Smith, a guy who Craig Payne fought who weighs over 300 and some pounds, close to 400. We saw him against Jeremy Williams.
Jeremy Williams, yes.
And he knocked Jeremy Williams down, did he not?
He did. Won a round in the fight and acquitted himself, and very early.
When Smith and Payne fought, there was over 700 pounds of beef in the ring.
You had to feel real bad for the rope strands.
How many chickens would it take to feed them, do you think, on that night?
That's a conversion table there, right?
See, 12 for a Tiger. A little over a minute left to go here in round 5. Al Bernstein, Dave Bontempo, we're happy you joined us for another edition of Top Rank Boxing. We're back east. Next week, we're going to go out to my hometown in Las Vegas. And the merry-go-round continues here on Top Rank.
Shannon Briggs' biggest opponent in this fight now is complacency and lack of concentration. That's really all he has to worry about. Notice he stayed pretty much in the one gear throughout this fight, taking what's offered, not gambling too much.
Good job, fellas.
Very consistent effort. Eddie Cotton, the referee, has had little to do in this bout. There have been almost no clinches, and nothing resembling anything illegal done by either man.
And a telling right hand to the body by Briggs, and he senses a chance to finish the fight here.
Craig Payne has been hurt, and he has been hurt to the body badly. Slapping right hands by Craig Payne. The punch strays a little low from Briggs. So round 5, a big round for Briggs, even by his standards in this fight. We'll be back for round 6.
Get a big man out of there, but the flip side is you can't miss to the body. Shannon Briggs shows you.
Big body to hit, and Shannon Briggs has gone after. We're in round 6. It is scheduled for 8. They are heavyweights. A reminder that our main event's still to come. Not Jeremy Williams. He's a heavyweight. He fought one of these. Well, he didn't fight these guys, but he fought Robert Smith, who looks like Craig Payne. I knew I was going to get back to that.
It was all there.
It was there somewhere. It's your job to figure it out, folks. Prince Charles Williams, that's who we have in our main event. He would be a light heavyweight, and he's fighting Murky Sosa, and that should be a very good fight.
Tremendous matchup of two guys who need a big win and meeting at the right time.
So that's coming up, but right now it's Briggs and Craig Payne, and as you look at those numbers, don't you get the feeling Shannon Briggs wants to end this?
Well, how many numbers does he want? Payne averaging 4 punches landed a round.
Next week, we're going to be out in Las Vegas. We mentioned Alexis Arguello, and I want to invite you over to see my sports party, which big news event involving that.
Well, Al, I'll have to get there at a different time at the Riviera now, right?
Funny you should mention that, because we've changed to 3 o'clock start time over at the Riviera every Saturday for our sports party, and Dave's going to be on hand there in the next couple of weeks to schmooze with the folks, and we have a lot of fun.
That's a great show, too.
Right here, we have, we're halfway through round 6. And Shannon Briggs is just having his way with Craig Payne.
And these are the rounds in the fight when he'll look back at it and see how he did as far as keeping his pace, being consistent, not being lulled by the lopsided margin. Usually against his other opponents, this kind of dominance would have them out of there by now. He's in a new realm in a sense, and this guy is there for him, making him try new things and making Shannon Briggs grow in his own way during this bout.
A minute left to go in round 6. It's a little frustrating, too, I'm sure, because Shannon Briggs has been here before where he's whacking away against a veteran. The guy's not going down, even though Shannon's doing all the right things, and there is the temptation to be frustrated by that.
And at this point in a fight, that he wants to keep the right hands going, there comes a time during the bout when a fighter gets resigned to the fact it's going all the way. I've landed my best shots, the guy is still here, and a lopsided decision is fine.
Under a half minute left to go. There is a left hook from Craig Payne. We've not seen that weapon much from him. And he throws it again, and an overhand right. But he is loath to open up too much because he's getting hit with counter punches like that one. Round 6 is history.
For Shannon Briggs, he takes a left hook there, then turns around and fires his own combinations right after that.
we're heading into round 7. Connecticut, are they playing ball this year or not? Calhoun has got that team rocking and rolling.
Connecticut, UMass, what big interest up there as the local powers come together.
And a resurgence in the Big East, too.
Another telling stat for Shannon Briggs. Tremendous advantage as far as the jabs, and it shows a complete package for him during this fight.
The only bout that comes to mind in which a guy landed fewer punches was Ron Amundsen and Dana Rosenblatt, a bout we had here on ESPN a little while ago. I'm not sure Craig Payne isn't going to be dangerously close to the record for the lowest landed. In fact, we're told by Bob Canobio Punch Profile that he is a cinch to win this record.
Well on his way, and he's got the 3-round record already for landing no power punches during the round. And how does it translate as far as scoring? Well, you might expect that he hasn't won a round, and sure enough, he has not.
I would disown you if you gave a round.
I would disown me, too.
But you could plead temporary insanity. I know you could.
That's right.
We're into round 7. Al Bernstein, Dave Bontempo. We're very happy that you joined us for our second show of 1995.
One thing during this fight is that Payne, for all the stamina he's trying to save, has stood up between every round. He's not sit down and used the stool to give himself a little bit of a breather, so he's lost already 6 minutes of recovery time in this battle.
Some heavyweights do that. George Foreman, for instance, the proponent of that, stands between each round.
We saw Mike the Bounty Hunter do it in our last show of 1994.
Briggs hitting behind the head of Payne. Gets a warning from Eddie Cotton, but maybe just a little frustration on the part of Briggs. Under a minute left to go here in round 7. It's scheduled for 8. It has been completely one-sided. Shannon Briggs on the left of your screen has just dominated Craig Payne.
And I think his handlers may be, in a sense, a little disappointed that Payne is not doing more. Even though a more active Payne would be a bigger risk to their fighter, they wanted to see him against somebody who will fight back, who will make him react to maybe a little bit of adversity, and that hasn't been there tonight. He's had tougher sparring sessions.
Yeah, that's true. Teddy Atlas and Mark Roberts, his trainer and manager, both wanted, I think, more out of Craig Payne, and they really haven't gotten it. And let's give Shannon Briggs some credit for that, but Payne has also been very lethargic offensively. We'll be back to close this one out. Stay with us. Payne, the 32-year-old who comes in here with a record of 12-9. Craig is from Livonia, Michigan, in the Detroit area. And Shannon Briggs is from Brooklyn, New York.
And yet another display of anemic numbers for Payne. Unbelievably low percentage, and Briggs keeping his percentage up there pretty high without much opposition. You know, there's fighting to win, there's fighting not to lose, and in this case, for Payne, there's fighting not to lose big. And that's basically what has happened to him. He's gone into a shell from round 1.
He has done so little offensively. There he pushes a jab out. The one punch that has landed occasionally for Payne is a jab when he's thrown it properly.
And it's not like the shots have not been there for him. Briggs is coming in, jabbing, and challenging him to get off the mark a little bit more quickly. And Payne has been his own worst enemy tonight.
Well, Craig Payne will get in there with just about anybody. He's been there with lots of heavyweights all the way back to Pinklin Thomas in November of 1992. He went 12 rounds with him, so he will go a ways with fighters, and actually has some wins, like a TKO over Melton Bowen, beat Rick Sikorsky. He beat Samson Pahua. You explain to me how that happened.
After some of the other performances, it's hard. You know, the guy, we talked about it in the open, can find some sudden explosiveness once in a while. That's why he's a little bit over 500, but then you get a night like tonight where he's simply reluctant from the opening bell and doesn't give himself any chance.
I find it fascinating because Samson Pahua, we saw him here in Top Rank Boxing, and my goodness, he looked like a fine young heavyweight. In any case, we've got a minute left to go in the 8th round. Shannon Briggs is pitching a shutout. And now looking maybe to try and take Craig Payne out of there here in the 8th round.
It's hard to think of 8 rounds being any longer for Craig Payne than these 8 have been, where he's had no excitement for himself in the bout, no competitiveness, and it basically has endured a beating from the first minute.
There's that nice double left hook from Shannon Briggs. Teddy Atlas, of course, a very fine trainer, and you see his stamp all over Shannon Briggs. And Shannon Briggs, who does not have a wealth of amateur experience, has done a great job of picking up all these things from Atlas.
You're seeing a very educated left hand in this bout for Shannon Briggs. He has avoided the temptation to load up, and he's down with his jab on himself.
So it's over. 8 rounds have come and gone uneventfully for Craig Payne, except that he took a lot of punches. He's shaking his head. He's not happy with his performance, obviously.
And the exchange, Shannon Briggs looked at him like he expected more out of him, too.
It's Teddy Atlas there, wiping the sweat from the brow of Shannon Briggs. Teddy, of course, has trained many excellent fighters, including the former heavyweight champion, Michael Moore.
Trainer really just starting to get his notoriety in the last year or so. Excellent technician and a good motivator.
So it looks like Shannon Briggs will capture his 21st victory as a pro, but did not get a KO.
And the lopsided edge, more than 200 punches of an advantage. And the surprising thing there is usually with that kind of dominance, a fight is stopped. Somebody's been knocked out by the shots. And yet sometimes the uglier a fighter wins, the better it is for him as far as what he learns, how he gets extended, etc. And Shannon Briggs basically had target practice tonight and didn't make any mistakes.
All right, we're sure that will be reflected on the scorecards. Let's go up to Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, all 3 judges, Frank Cairo, Vincent Ranoni, and Al DeVito, scored about the same. 80-72 for the winner by unanimous decision, Shannon Briggs.
So Shannon Briggs gets a win. Hey, by the way, Michael Buffer, they're shooting him for GQ magazine tonight. A lot going on here. We'll be back. Stay with us.
What they want to do is they want to try to survive and do little crafty things to make it, and he did just that. He kind of calmed me a little bit. You know, I was doing like the first combination, and I should have stepped up with the second and third, but it's all a learning experience.
When you see a guy just being a punching bag like that, what goes through your mind? What do you have to guard against?
Well, just look out for the sneaky punches, because like I said this morning, you know, he'll look to go 7-8 rounds and then make a big spurt somewhere, and you know, I'm not really happy with my performance, but hopefully I'll be back and get to do it again.